Hey everybody, welcome to episode 35 of the Open Play Podcast. I'm here with the whole group this time, which is the first in a few weeks now. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing good, thanks for asking.
Are you an orc from New York or something? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm walking here.
New York?
Yeah, exactly. It's got it right in the word. New York.
It fits. So, how's everybody been? Alex, what you got going on these days? Anything new?
Not a whole lot. Went and picked up some paint, so I'm getting ready to start breaking out the airbrush again here soon.
Seraphon?
Yeah, probably gonna do Seraphon, as well as, of course, a little secret surprise that nobody's allowed to know about.
We should probably talk about that too.
We'll see. People, wait in anticipation.
Yeah, we should build a little bit of hype for it,
What about you, Will? What you got going on?
I, in the past 2 weeks, have painted 12 Deathcopters, 5 Storm Boys, some Beast Naga boys, and a mech. So my desk has been hot in anticipation of the tournament this weekend. I think next up on the queue is 10 more Storm Boys because they're good.
Not 10 more flash kits?
Oh, please, boss, I'm tired. I painted 10, that's the other thing, I painted 10 flash kits too. Boss, I'm tired. I don't know how much more I can bring myself to paint this rapidly, but I guess we'll see. Since you talked, Preston, what are you doing?
Not a whole lot. I finished up the Vizark over the last week or two. I have another model to paint, but I don't really have anything too pressing to work on. None of my armies are really changing. If I was to get something, I would probably pick up a third Tau commander at some point, because I was realizing building this retaliation list that I really want a third one, but not enough to go out and speed rush a job for this weekend. So maybe if there's one at Tower, I'll just pick it up.
What about you, Mason? What you doing?
Well, Will called me out and said that we're going to have a game and he's going to play his super strong orc list against me. And then he backed away like a little coward at the last minute and decided not to play me. So
I'm sorry. I have a family and obligations.
Yeah, you should be sorry.
Yeah, you should be sorry. Crumping is the most important thing, and you should know that by now. But other than that, I've been putting some stuff together. Mostly I'm trying to work through my pile of shame to try to get as much stuff put together, and then I'm going to speed prime, or not speed prime, I guess, but gradually kind of grind down my pile of shame so I can add more stuff to it without feeling bad.
I would want speed prime. That seems pretty speedy enough.
Well, just more do an assembly line, have a bunch of guys, spray them with one layer, set them aside to start drying, and then go with the next group of little boys. But
there's jokes I cannot say because if we got monetized, we'd be demonetized. So I'll just put that out there.
Well, we can just get demonetized so hard that we get monetized. I think that's how it works.
Possibly. Makes sense. I mean, it seems legit to me. For my hobby, not a ton. There's just so much going on. It's so busy. I have no time. So I've decided on a scheme for the sisters. I've showed a couple of photos in our various chats. I need to finish painting the rest of the army because that's the way it goes. You paint one model, but you still have to paint the rest of the army and get some games in with them. And I need to get some World Leaders games in because I haven't I played one game in the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe on TTS, and that's it. And I'm just getting super rusty because before that I hadn't really played a real game other than when Alex just manhandled my army. It was a good time though. Other than that, not a lot going on. I'm on vacation for 2 weeks after this week, so work is going to be a nightmare, so that'll be fun. But yeah, so one thing I did want to mention is, as we kind of alluded to earlier, I had an idea, and we've put together a little challenge, mostly for us and, the 8 people that may or may not listen to us on occasion. We drew names from a virtual hat, and we had to buy a model for the name we drew. We're going to build the model, we're going to paint the model for them, and then we're going to have a little competition to see who did the best job. The winner gets nothing but the clout and his model, but it's still going to be a fun little thing. So we're all currently scoping models out. I should have my model in this week. Does everybody else have their model at this point?
I do.
I cheated. I built and primed mine.
Wow.
The instructions were quite clear.
I'm an orc, and reading is very difficult for me.
It's okay. No one ever listens to what I say, so it's fine. What about you, Mason?
Mine is still in the Amazon package because I thought that even opening the package was cheating. I just shook the box. I'm like, yep, those are spruce, and then set it to the side.
I'll have mine in this week, but I won't be able to start until after vacation. So the official clock will probably start when I'm back, and we'll discuss that amongst ourselves and give us a time frame to build and paint, and then see what we do. We'll have to get stuff on camera and, show people and show each other. But yeah, so that'll be a little fun thing to do. Something interesting we could do for each other. And hey, everybody gets a painted model, so that's cool. So let's talk some news here. Let's start with Kill Team, because that's one of the two I'm most annoyed with right now. Kill Team had a big release. The new packaging for Kill Team is really good. I mean, I really do like the new Kill Team packaging. The boxes look really nice, but there's no way the Orc Commando box from like Kill Team 1, whatever you want to call it, from I don't know how many years ago, is a $70 fucking box.
That is $6 per mini, Michael.
Everything went up. Everything. I mean, look at the Mandrakes. Mandrakes are $80.
$80. There's just little guys. They're not very big. Come on, man.
I mean, the Nemesis Claw. I mean, you're paying for a freaking upgrade sprue. That's basically all it is.
So when I got back into the game in 9th, all of my old CSM guys were very small compared to the new CSM guys. So I bought a couple boxes of Legionnaires, and I literally after the buying the Kill Team after the Combat Patrol, I bought the Kill Team box because that's all they had, and I was, wait, this is the same. Oh, I just paid $5 extra to get this cool upgrade sprue. I was very excited as a consumer. What is it, $15 more now, or is it $10 more? 10 is really pushing it. 15 is just too much for that sprue because you don't get any extra guys. It's typically a gun that I have not put on my guys and like a couple cool bits and stuff like that. It's a hard pill to swallow.
You know, with the new Kill Team, I was honestly wanting to try the new Kill Team out. It's like, okay, this seems like it could be interesting. You know, it's small. I like small games, and this is a small game. I'm not paying that for a team, though. I mean, it's just, at this point, it's going to be proxy and print. I know they've raised prices, every year for the past few years now on every box, but I mean, that's, you know, like a 5% upgrade that went from like a $60 box to like $62.50 or something like that. Not a $60 box, it's $75.
Let's also just point out real quick that currently on GW's site, the Kill Team that has used the most in competitive 40K, the Hearthkin Jaegers, is still only $65. So it is not $80, but Mandrakes are. Do with that information what you will. I just thought it was a little surprising. I thought Jaegers would be $80 for sure. Although you do get 2 units of Mandrakes for $80. Right, Because you run them in 5s.
Still not $80, I'm sorry.
And there is no equivalent. So if you want Mandrakes that were made in this decade, you spend $80 in this box.
And the old Mandrakes are awful. I've died to them before. It's the same humiliation as dying to Fugin or any other 800-year-old elf model that's T-posing and is on a 20 mil base. You're just like, what is that piece of garbage? And the Eldar is like, well, that's the official model, man. And I'm like, oh, cool. I hate it even more.
Or Sanguinor before he got a new model. He was on a 25 millimeter base. Scouts were on a bigger base than he was.
So bad.
Isn't Lamarty's on a really small base too?
No, because Lamarty's got that new model, but I think it was an 8th. So he was on a 40, maybe a 32, but he was definitely not on a 25 anymore. He had like a cartoon character skull. It was actually a very funny looking model.
So bad.
Are these actually old Mandrakes?
Those are like 3rd edition Mandrakes. Those might be metal even. Every now and then I'm like, you know, it'd be kind of cool to buy one of these old metal models. And then I'm like, no, because then I'd have to paint it.
No.
They're terrible.
And I just come across somebody made a 3D print. So hey, there you go.
I've got a set of metal stuff from Eldar. They are not fun at all. I just didn't know any better.
All this to say, I think the pricing is terrible. If you're going to buy it from a discount retailer, namely Warfire Minis, using our affiliate link to give us a little money back. You know, it'd be kind of cool. But even if not them, just get it from a discount retailer, because I can $63 for a Kill Team I want, which is Nemesis Claw. That's one I was waiting on to come out. Still a lot of money, but it's better than $75.
Link in the description of any podcasting app you listen to, or you can message me on Discord and I will send it to you directly.
Or just join our Discord and it's linked. So it's pinned. We'll put it everywhere.
Well, you're not going to be able to message me unless you're on our Discord, so.
No, it could be other Discords you're on. I don't know. But yeah, just the pricing. It's just, and the other thing is, so okay, increase in price. Hey, it's cool because it comes with the data cards for the army. No, it doesn't. Cards are still separate.
So I do believe GW does not have a rule that independent retailers can't mark stuff down. Obviously, because otherwise places like Warpfire couldn't mark stuff down. So your friendly local gaming store might still sell them for more reasonable prices. I don't know what they're getting these things for. But if I'm buying from GW Direct, I don't like to buy from GW Direct anyway, because I like to support like my local scene anyway, and I like to support businesses like, I'm gonna say the name again, like Warpfire Minis, because like I think they do a good job and they support the community and stuff like that too. Whereas GW, they make the game, but they're not really hurting for cash these days, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather give me where my money goes a little farther for people.
It's been so long since I've bought directly from GW at this point. It's not worth it. Not with the prices. boxes?
I bought the Leviathan box direct from them just because I couldn't get it anywhere else. But
Leviathan box was kind of a steal, though. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, if we could have bought from the LGS, that would have been awesome. But like for like the big release boxes, buying from GW, I don't take any issue with that. Like,
oh, you had no way. Like we had no way of knowing that Leviathan was going to be produced to the level it was. That we would actually be able to get one from our local shop. Like most starter boxes are like a flash in the pan. They're gone instantly. So I wanted to be safe and get mine. Had I known what I know now, I probably would have bought it from our local shop or from like Warp Buyer because I would have saved a little bit of money. But you know, hindsight's 2020. I can't justify personally spending $15 or like $15 for an upgrade sprue. $10. If I really wanted that upgrade sprue, I could swing it. But I guarantee you, someone's gonna 3D print the bits very soon, and it's like, well, I could just buy regular Legionaries, which is a really nice kit on its own, and then just add in the extra bits that I want.
Just proxy and say, hey, this is what this team is. And the other player's like, oh, okay, that works. You know, because most people are accommodating.
I am speaking from a perspective of a Warhammer 40k player, not a kill team player. If you are a kill team player and you only have to buy one kill team, I'm a little less like it's less of a big deal in my opinion, because like you don't need 4 of those boxes to make an army. You only need 1. But the squeeze is still real, right?
Yeah, like the box I have up, the equipment pack box, the kill team upgrade box or something that has like smoke grenades and other barriers and walls and chain fence and stuff. It's $45 for like 2 sprues.
Meanwhile, the specific Gallo Dark terrain upgrade sprues I think were only $30, and they were like actual terrain for you could use for the kill team. Like the Gallo Dark boxes, like I guarantee you that if you put these like pound for pound, like physically, like how much each box weighs against the other, the new zone box, there's no contest. Those boxes are heavy.
Yeah, I mean the Hive Storm box being $230, you're paying a premium for the terrain and then the 2 armies. I mean, it just doesn't seem worth it for what you get.
Do you remember how much the Gallo Storm boxes were, or the Gallo Dark boxes were?
$210, I think.
I think it was 210.
So you're paying $20 more for this incarnation. For some reason, I thought it was $180, so I was probably wrong.
Oh, I see it on Amazon for $160.
Yeah, Amazon will always sell less though.
Oh, true that.
185 US. That was the Gallifall. Yeah.
For 2 kill teams and a bunch of terrain, that is very nice looking terrain. Not that this terrain doesn't look nice, but still, I think that I would like a little bit more. I think that the smoke grenades look a little doofy, personally. It could be the paint job, though, so it just looks flat based on what I'm seeing. So I don't know how I feel about it. The barricades are cool, but I feel as though they're very easily replicable with almost any other piece of terrain out there. It's just nothing really speaks to me about this this upgrade pack for $40 or whatever.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It feels like price gouging for no reason other than to price gouge, but that's what you get. I mean, for the hobby you choose, you pay the price that you have to pay to stay in it.
Well, the world is getting more expensive now, and I don't pretend to know all the finer points of the economy in England, but who damn.
We're doing a lot of GW bashing, and some of it rightfully so. I will say, big shout out. I got my Age of Sigmar 4.0 release box, the Skaven versus the Stormcast, for free the other day, and that was very nice to get.
But that's also kind of the point. So those boxes, like the Sigmar launch box, the 10th edition launch box, were around, $220, $230 by themselves, but you get so much in that box. I mean, the books by themselves. I mean, then all the army is associated with that. I mean, you get 40 clan rats by themselves in the Age of Sigmar box, not to mention all the other rats, like 52 models, something like that, plus the Stormcast, plus the rulebook for Spearhead, and plus the actual game rulebook. You just get so much. I mean, now, mind you, these are monopose, no glue models, so those are generally going to be on the cheaper side, but still, you get so much for that price.
And that box is heavy too. Like there's plastic in that box. That box is full to the brim. And everything we say, take it with a grain of salt, because like none of us are doing this podcast because we hate Games Workshop. Like obviously we really like the work that they do, and like their products are great. Just some of their pricing schemes are a little bit like, I don't know. Like I look at this for $45, whatever it is, their site, and then I go to, I don't know, a model like Archeon, who's enormous and only 170, I think. I really should buy him before he goes back up, but like I don't want to spend $170 right now. Oh, he's 194. He already went up, so it's fine. To be fair, that model is enormous.
Yeah, he is. He is a centerpiece model. He is something that I would not feel bad about spending $200 on. I really wouldn't, because he is literally gigantic. He is something, if I plopped him down at my D&D campaign, it spells the end of the campaign.
Yes, that's a level 20 boss for sure. And I mean, you compare him to something like Demon Primarch, which I think they're all 170 right now. Angron is completely dwarfed by this thing. Magnus, wingtip to wingtip, is around the same like breadth, but like height wise is like tiny. Martarian's pretty much the same. Like, that is a big old boy. So I just like, I look at that, I'm like, what's going on here? Like, why are you charging me $40 for a puff of smoke on the ground and 2 barricades?
Yeah, some of those things you just don't buy. Just let Games Workshop know with your wallet. Just don't purchase it.
Or if you do have to purchase it, get a discount retailer like Warpfire Minis. Dude, I'm going to plug until we get more money. I don't care. So yeah, pricing so going back to what you said, yes, everything's more expensive. 3D printing is becoming a much better option for a lot of the smaller board size games like Kill Team, like Spearhead, just the small army games that you play. Assuming you don't already have, 4 different armies upstairs that you can just pull from to, play a game of that if you're new and getting started.
Who would have that?
I don't know. None of us. I mean, none of us have more than one army. I mean, come on.
I don't even know if I have one whole army at this point.
I could piece it together, but
I can stop whenever I want.
I can quit anytime. It's fine. But yeah, I'm just getting lost with the price hikes. It's just getting frustrating at this point. Moving on to another Age of Sigmar thing, since we kind of went to Archaon here. I do want to talk about the Skaven Battletome. And my question really is, what's the point of Age of Sigmar Battletomes at this point? So we have, with the indexes, you get the 4 different formations. The Battletome does not have points. Points will be online. Battletome will have some slight changes to some of the abilities, but you're not getting a new formation with it. So what's the point of the physical Battletome anymore, for at least Age of Sigmar?
I think that they're, and this is maybe a bold take, but Games Workshop has shown that they are, while slow to move, they do move. I think that they're legitimately preparing to go full digital and just say, you want access to this, you pay the subscription and then you pay for a code. I do think that they're moving that direction.
Yeah, I kind of was about to say the same thing, Will. I think that maybe 11th edition for 40K and 5th edition for Age of Sigmar might be full digital codexes.
Because, the lore is cool, but, sell those as a collector book for $50. Make it a nice big tome with cool pages and lots of lore and lots of art and cool armies. Legitimately, I'll buy it for Orcs. I read every codex I buy for Orcs, but that's the only one that I buy. I will not buy other codexes. I don't care for the lore. I'm here for the gameplay.
Yeah, CSM, World Eaters, I'll buy those codexes, but I'm not going to buy a Space Marine codex. Definitely not going to buy an Imperial Agents codex. I don't care about that lore. It's not what I'm into. I don't care about that art. It's not what I'm into. I like the chaos. I like the spike.
Will, did the Orc, because at least for the Tau Codex, all the lore for the 10th edition was the same from the 9th edition. Was it the same for the Orc Codex?
No, there were distinct differences. You could tell that there was a different writer for good chunks of it. Don't get me wrong, they had a couple similar stories and a couple of the same stories, but I would say probably more than half of it was new, or if not outright new, variations on older codexes, and I've only been reading since 8th edition, so.
Because I only have the 9th and 10th edition codex, and I compared them, and I would say over half of it was just the same, which was really disappointing to see. There's a lot of new art and things like that, but the actual, stories and stuff were all the same, except for, the opening one, maybe one other.
I'll have to go through the CSM codex.
Because, there was one, it was just, explaining how Anva's dead, and there was one explaining, how the caste system works, and, stuff like that, and that was all just pretty much copy-pasted. So, I mean, I would not be remiss if they did lore books and then also just sold the codes and stuff separately, but I would like some more effort put in to the lore books.
Agreed. If you're gonna sell those books at a premium, there needs to be some premium put into it. It does not take Dan Abnett that long to come up with a 3-paragraph story. It really doesn't.
There is a short story in the 4th edition CSM codex that is Karn the Betrayer. It's a third-person perspective over a group of berserkers, and they're talking about why have the Imperial Guard stopped firing? And then they just hear in the background, kill, maim, burn, and they're like, Korn help us because it's Karn the Betrayer. He just runs in and kills them all. It's like my favorite story. It's hilarious and it's really entertaining. I really hope they have an updated version of that for the World Eaters. So GW, if you're listening, put it in there. Don't be a bunch of cowards.
Going back to the point that I'm in agreement. I think everything is pretty much going to go digital because it's just so much easier. This app is leaps and bounds better than the 9th edition app was. I mean, you're seeing it with Skaven and every other Battletome that comes out. You're not getting anything new. Getting rules updates, which will change again. So I mean, what's the point? I mean, you're paying $60 for the points. That's what it comes down to.
I find it a little hard to believe that they're making a profit off of things like the data cards and stuff like that too. Having to keep like a printer like on standby and stuff like that. Like, yeah, Space Marines, you probably make a profit on that stuff. But like, how much it costs to like send the Imperial Agent data cards to print, or the Votan cards when they're already at print, I guess now, because they did one at the 9th when there's only like 7 data sheets. Are you really gonna get your return on investment back there, or are you like just throwing money in the trash? Like, I feel as though you could put that money elsewhere for more return on investment.
I mean, I do like the data cards. Like, I'll use the War Leader data cards still because I don't have a codex. So I mean, they're good until that codex hits, at least for the most part. So I'm okay with having them because I mean, they're useful to a point. I think there's no points on it. Rules will change, so you have to note that on the card itself. But there's something about having the physical card and not having to search the app for it. I like the physicality of the card. But when it changes, I can just print them out. All that's to say is I just don't get the point of current Battletomes unless something changes past Skaven. I just I pre-ordered the Battletome. I'm gonna get it here this week, and I will scan the code, and then I will put it on a shelf until I throw it away. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the fate of a codex these days is you read through it and then you put it to the side.
The only codex I still have from 9th is the World Eaters Codex. I got rid of every other codex and the rulebook at this point because I don't care. World Eaters I'll keep because, I like the army. And I don't know if that was technically their first codex. Did they have an older codex by themselves or no?
No, there was a Demons of Khorne codex that had some of the units in there, but it's World Eaters alone, I don't think ever had their own codex.
So, I mean, it's a very small codex. Keep that in mind. Very slim, but still, I wanted to keep that codex because it's my favorite army, and I want to keep it. Even if I'll never use it or open it again, I'm going to keep the codex. And I'm sure some people feel the same way about specific other codexes. It saddens me because, I mean, you're just not getting anything new. I appreciate them digitally, going back to Age of Sigmar, putting all the formations out with the indexes rather than the way they did 10th edition where you get one army roll for however long it takes to get your codex. I appreciate that. That's probably the way most people would have liked to have seen 10th edition, I think, to have more options to play than just that one singular option for almost 2 years, depending on your army.
Yeah, I mean, having variety, it's definitely has more levers for the balancing team to pull, but it would be nice to be able to not just say, oh, I wonder what detachment I'm going to take today. Am I going to take the one that lets me reroll a single to hit, to wound, or to a damage roll, or am I going to take the one that gives me +1 attack, +1 damage on the charge? Not a lot of variety there. There's only one for each faction.
Yeah, that's kind of true no matter what army you look at, though. Even across 40k to Age of Sigmar, that's not anything unique, though. That's all I'll say on that. There are objectively best. It's like making free war gear in 10th edition 40k. Great, congratulations. But there's still objectively one best option for every unit, all the time, almost.
I get that. I mean, from a competitive standpoint, yes, there's always the best option. But playing games with friends, I'd like to have more than one option. If I want to run GSC, maybe I want to run the Mad Max detachment, their vehicle detachment. Maybe I want to run the Muscle Beach detachment. There's other things you can do in a non-competitive series of games. Like if I'm not going to a tournament or something, I'm just playing with friends, I can run whatever I want to run and have fun with it. Whereas World Eaters right now, mind you, it's a really good detachment roll. I appreciate that. But that's the only thing I can do is what they give me. So the army lists are fairly static. There's not a lot of change. We've seen Forge Fiends pop up repeatedly through the past year. I mean, they go in, they go out. Army lists take more battle line now because of the battle line changes. But, certain armies are just fairly static. Also because of the amount of units armies have, like Votan.
Yeah, it seems like most factions, at least that do not have a codex right now, have these are the 3 data sheets that we rely on, and then there's a little bit of spice thrown in depending on what the meta is and what your personal playstyle is. If a playstyle even exists, because sometimes there's just no room for it.
Well, it's even more exasperated in Age of Sigmar, because so for example, Gloomspite Gits, they have a good win rate, but the only formation that's doing well is trolls. Everything else, dumpster fire, actual garbage, and it's completely skews the stats. So Age of Sigmar, they're not even getting reliable statistic data unless the analysts at GW are doing their homework and seeing like, yeah, Gloomspite gets, they're not doing well, except for one specific formation, and that's trolls, and trolls alone.
That could be a part of the growing pain of 4th edition too, though. Like, to be fair, but yes, it is very... Age of Sigmar right now is very spammy. Trogs are really good for Age of Sigmar, or for Gloomspike Bits. Varangard are very good for Slaves to Darkness.
Varangard are gross.
For Night Haunt, everything is really good because ghosts...
Yeah, just pick some stuff.
They need to do something about that. I don't know.
So Age of Sigmar right now is kind of wild. Usually, Age of Sigmar rules team is very responsive. I think that they made the correct call at the beginning of the edition. There's tons of hype. Let all the dirty laundry come to air, right? Let the overperformers, Night Haunt, Gloomspites, Trogs, the Lumineth. Lumineth are disgusting, by the way. Let them all come to the top. Let them all float to the top like a turd in the toilet, and then whack them. So the problem is they're gonna whack Night Haunt, and it's not gonna be enough. It's gonna be 2 more rounds unless they do a comprehensive whacking. They gotta do a really good whack job.
Can you not say whack so emphatically?
I wonder if you just took their save to a 5+ native.
Give him the Harlequin treatment.
Give him the exactly, Preston. Give him the Harlequin treatment. You don't get no 4-up, buddy. You get a 5-up. That would actually, honestly, that'd probably do it. That'd just take him right down to that 50% range.
Or just say, like, you have a 4-up save, but you can get rended to a 5-up. And that way you kind of you still get a little bit of the same effect, but... They'd have to change
the, like, core army rule of that faction, though, because part of the thing is there's no rend. I mean, you can't change their save up or down.
Yeah, instead of saying that it can't be modified, just make it so it can only be modified by +or -1. Because always having a 4-up is just the craziest swingy thing ever. Like, that's nonsense. Especially when, like, some factions, like, I don't know, maybe my faction, Slaves of Darkness, we focus on having high rend weapons and a lot of, like, good attacks. And now, like, my high rend weapons don't matter. And I don't have a lot of bad attacks. I have a lot of good attacks.
Yes.
Bone Splitters is weird, although it's a very limited number of players. Yeah, that's probably why it's weird, but still, having 33% of your group at 2 wins and everybody else at 3 wins out of, I guess, 9 people? It just skews the stats.
Sons of Behemoth being low makes sense too, just because it's a very skewy army. Magakin of Nurgle, rest in peace, my filthy friends.
Hey, Beast of Chaos. Go Beast of Chaos, at least for another 6 months.
Yeah, they're hanging in there. I didn't. Deepkin's the only other army I'd feel interested in getting into, but like, I don't know if I can bring myself to play Elf.
Not just Elf, but Water Elf.
Yeah, at least they're spiky Water Elf. They're kind of cool. But yeah, I think that Age of Sigmar needs a pretty big update. We're getting close to where it's 4th Ed has been out for a while, so I'm excited to see what they do.
100%.
So these are the most recent results?
Correct. So we're switching over to 40k meta at this point, looking at stat check, and the last update right now is 917, which was about 5 days ago. So these are the most current results as it stands.
How are Space Wolves still at the top?
Wolf Jail still catches people off guard, man.
Both the Stormlance and the Champions of Russ and even the Gladius are all really good ways to play Space Wolves.
Yeah, Thunderwolf Cav are just really good. It's just a good data sheet. Even their Terminators are good.
Also, Bjorn is like a Catan with a Vect.
Yeah, Bjorn is absurd.
But like, Dark Angels are objectively better, and they're only at 52 compared to the 68.
I don't know if they're objectively better. I think they are better, but I don't know if it's like you can say for sure.
I'm with Preston. I don't think so. I think the army-wide advance and charge, the Wolves, if they get a good charge turn 1, you're actually in trouble. And then like, well, I cleared the 6 Wolves that made it into my lines and killed all my screens. Well, there's 12 more behind it, plus a bunch of HQs. Like, that's a problem.
Also, if you notice when he pulls it up, Gladius Dark Angels is 56%. So a lot of that is getting brought down by the people trying to play the Dark Angels Codex, which sucks, because you wanted that to be good. But the best way to play Dark Angels is to play Gladius, because you get Advance and Charge on Deathwing Knights, and you also get Fire Discipline.
Yeah, you go from 5 inches of movement to potentially 11 inches of movement, plus a 2d6 charge. Like, that's like having a Wa and not a Wa. Like, that is a big deal.
Yeah, it gives you 3 Anvils with 3 units of Deathwing Knights. It gives you Azrael's unit with a bunch of Hellblasters as a...
Or Inner Circle Companion.
Oh, yeah, or Inner Circle Companion, depending on if you want a melee or a ranged hammer. And you have the Fire Discipline Eradicators, which is just a disgusting unit. Like, that's a very good list.
And you still have room for a Land Raider Redeemer and some Scouts and Infiltrators and everything else that's good in Marines.
You know, I think that I'm biased about Space Wolves because I'm playing World Eaters, and I'm not really worried about them in melee because I can kill them. If you don't have a lot of dedicated melee units, I could see how that would be a terrible army to play against. I take back my previous statement.
Grey Knights have shot way up there.
Yeah.
What changed?
The game has changed to be less killy, so that Grey Knights switching back to 30 Terminators, like, people think they can clear 30 Grey Knight Terminators, and they get into a game and they really can't. There are units that can kill, 5 or 6 Terminators in an activation, but there's not a lot of armies that can kill 30 over the course of a game while also dealing with, like, the Librarians and the Dread Knights and things like that.
Yeah, 6 Dread Knights and, like, 30 Terminators, each one having,
That's not a real list. That's way too many points. It's either 6 Dread Knights and trash, or, like, 4 Dread Knights and 1 Terminator brick, or, like, 30 Terminators and a bunch of nonsense and maybe 1 or 2 Dread Knights.
Well, even so, they bring a Terminator back every turn, and that's nasty.
Oh, that is mean.
Yes.
I
Grey Knight
haven't fought
Terminators get a banner for OC3, and they get an Apothecary with Narthecium.
Oh, that's horrendous. I don't even know if 10 Warhorde knobs would clear that. That's mean.
They also have, Armor of Contempt, they have Mists of Deimos, they have Calar Drago for the 6-inch charge out of Deep Strike if you want. You can take, is it Brotherhood Champion, who gives them a free strat? No, it's the Grandmaster. He gives them free strat once per game and ignore modifiers. It's a pretty decent set of rules.
Okay, I could see that being a problem, because usually as an orc, like, I don't, go ahead, do your Deep Strike shenanigans. I'm going to eat up so much real estate that you literally can't play the game. That sounds mean.
Yeah, also, Paladins just having -1 to wound is pretty nasty, too. Like, you can run a unit of them, too. But, like, yeah, even, like, 10 Terminators with bringing a guy back every turn.
That's awful.
They have Armor of Contempt. They have, what's it called? Mist of Deimos, which is just stupid. Like this.
I've seen a lot of people switching from it used to put Sigil on the Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight, so that if you shoot him, he gets to move around. I've seen a lot of people switching to putting that on a Paladin unit, because the Paladin unit can come down, they can actually shoot because they get 4 heavy weapons, and then if they line up enough stuff to shoot it, you just move out of the way. And if they don't line up enough stuff to shoot it, well, then you just True Silver Armor and you stand there and you face tank it. It's very hard to bait out a Sigil on 10 Paladins. Because with 1 Dread Knight, you only have to put a couple guns pointed at it for them to say, okay, well, I don't want to take this damage. But if you need to do a lot to make 10 Paladins worried about a shooting threat.
They're pretty tough. Like, I mean, with cover and armor contempt, like, they're struggling AP3s with 3-up saves, you know what I mean? For 450 for 10, that's not, like, for what you're getting, that's not too bad. I kind of never want to play Grey Knight. Grey Knights is one of the armies I never want to play against. Like, I just don't. It's too much shenanigans for me, and it makes me sad.
How many players is that under Gene Stealer cults? Like 20?
62.
Oh, Will, by the way, the Brotherhood Terminator Squad are OC3.
That seems pretty normal to me. I don't know.
OC3 per guy?
No, it's sarcasm, Mason.
Oh.
We've been friends for like 3 years, 2.5 years at this point.
I just thought you were confused. I was like,
no, I'm not confused. That is the most sarcasm of sarcasm. That is awful.
That's a lot.
That's also, the other thing is they score secret missions completely for free. As long as they have a single Strike Marine or a single Terminator alive, they can pick them up and 3-inch Deep Strike him into your deployment zone, and that's a secret mission done.
Cool.
But what if I have a 12-inch Deep Strike denial?
Is your deployment zone 12 inches wide?
Oh, yeah, I forgot there was that one where you get a battle line unit in the deployment zone.
Yeah. It's the easiest one to do in my opinion. I think it's even easier than Unbroken Wall or War of Attrition, whichever one is the one where you want to hold 3 in no man's land.
The only one I've ever done is Command Insurgent because I've been playing World Eaters. I'm like, Agron's back, turn 5, you're off your backfield objective. He's there now. 20 points for me.
I have yet to do a secret objective because I'm tabled by turn 4 most games, so I don't know what you guys are speaking about.
I think they're pretty good. I think they're pretty balanced. I think that typically when you take them, it's not like it's like, oh, I'm going to turn this game around for sure. So I kind of like them.
I'm not disagreeing. I think that they're cool, and I actually had the opportunity to look at one the other day, and I was like, can I do any of these? And I was like, I have 18 models left on the table. No, I can't do any of them.
Looking at, if we're sticking to the top 5 real quick, looking at the overrep for Drukhari is really interesting because normally when a faction's really good, it's got a high overrep because the faction just performs at the top tables a lot. But Drukhari with a .45 shows that there's not a lot of players that are actually very good with Drukhari. They just consistently are getting very good results. Because it means not a lot of, like, less than half the Drukhari players you would expect to be X and O, X and 1 are actually making it there.
Drukhari, I give mad respect. I hate elves, but I give mad respect to Drukhari. They are one of the few armies that, like, they require an actual brain to pilot. You can't just be like, oh, look at my sweet data sheet that it gives me 45 rules. They have a lot of interaction. You have to think about your pain tokens. You have to think about what units go and where. And your army's very fragile. So I give mad respect to Drukhari players for doing it like that.
So what I'm hearing, though, is like Custodes, for instance, you just have to learn how to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, they got to know how to play the game.
Good to know. Good to know.
Thousand Suns with the fall off.
Is it a fall off?
55%?
55%.
No, they're fine. Thousand Suns they'll be back. They're just tricking people into thinking that they're bad for a week.
All just as they're trying to get under that 55 mark for the data slate.
Yeah, keep the Mule of Vortex Beast at like 160 or whatever its absurd price cost is.
Dude, so stupid.
So only having like 29 Sisters players, though, out of this group surprises me.
Sisters is a hard army to build, man. Like, you can't just be like, I'm gonna play Sisters of Battle this week. Like, that ain't how that works.
People do. I mean, they had a lot of player count in previous metas, so...
I'm not disagreeing, but like Bringers of Flame again is an army that you can't just say, oh, I'm gonna play Bringers of Flame this week and I'm gonna win the game.
I think you can.
As long as you have 3 Cascaders, 3 Emulators.
But again, you just said it though. 3 Cascaders, 3 Emulators. Who's got 3 Cascaders, 3 Emulators on hand?
I do, because I printed them.
Oh my god. So shut up, Michael.
Stop proving me wrong.
I do have 2 Castigators, and I have not gotten around to getting a 3rd yet because I know they're going to be nerfed.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not just like, oh, you have to have a very specific set of units, because Castigators are horrendously undercosted. Like, of course they are. But like at the same time, you can't just say, oh yeah, they're brain dead. They're really not. You have to actually know still how to play the army.
I don't think anyone said they're brain dead.
I'm exaggerating.
Stop.
I think the army looks like you need to make a lot of decisions, but the Bringers of Flame build doesn't feel like it has a whole lot of pain points to make. There is definitely positioning with like the aura, and there's deciding when to push where, but the whole army rule about deciding like when to use miracle dice or not, you just use them whenever you can because you get 30 of them. It's not like Eldar where you're getting like 2 6s a game and you're like, okay, where do I really need to succeed? You're like, okay, I'm getting 12 6s a game. I'm just going to use them whenever I can. I think they really need to tone that down and make the army less of a just fire hose.
I agree with that.
It does kind of feel like you just do whatever you want. Like, I need to make like a high risk play. Well, I rolled a 6 for sure. So this 8-inch charge, I need to roll a 2. Oh, I rolled another 4. So I'd make a 10-inch charge out of Deep Strike. Easy street.
Triumph gives you a 6 every turn, right?
It sure does.
And the Triumph makes every unit in your army so fast. Oh my god. I peaked the hell out of my mic saying that because it's so ridiculous.
So real quick, I'm gonna let Mason go. The Triumph needs to go up like by 40 points period. Like, that model is absurd. Or just take away its infantry keyword. Just take away the infantry keyword.
What, you don't like the Triumph going through walls?
It's got a casket. How are you moving the casket through the wall, buddy?
There's windows, it's fine.
They're breachable. The 6 sisters just like line up and just all at the same time they run into the wall together.
All right, we're gonna huck the casket through the wall.
Realizing Triumph has infantry as a keyword was just the funniest thing to me.
Also, it's AP2 in melee. Everybody has a power sword.
It's such a ridiculous model. And I'm like, the first time I fought Preston with it, I'm like, what do you mean it has infantry? And he's like, yeah, look, it has infantry. And I'm like, it's got a casket.
That's great.
And then he's like, oh, and then I forget who I charged. I think I charged one of my Beast Boss on Squigosaurus unit. And he's like, all right, you have 9 wounds at AP2. And I'm like, excuse you? What did you just say to me? And I'm like, what? How do you beat this? And he's like, I don't know. You just throw boys into it. And I'm like, how many wounds does it have? And he's like, 16 with a 4-up invul.
It's 18.
It's 18.
Whatever. It's even worse.
It's T3, 18 wounds with a 3-up, 4-up.
So you're putting 36 wounds into this thing in order to reliably kill it at AP1. Okay, sure.
And it's strength 5, which is not like low strength.
It's such a stupid unit.
This is like a
It's great.
250 point model.
No, it's 180.
No. I'm saying it's
Oh,
100.
it should be, yeah.
Yeah, it
It
should be.
needs to be 240. I think 240 is a fair point for it.
How expensive is Abaddon right now?
Or Gazgul.
Abaddon is more than 100 points more than this thing. Abaddon's 295.
It's so stupid.
This is like, we are not the same. That is so disgustingly terrible for everything. And Abaddon only gets 1 aura.
Yeah, the Triumph gets 2, and it gives you the auto 6 every turn as well.
Yeah,
So
that's not even an
dumb.
aura. That's so wonky, dude.
Totally fair, Army. Totally fair.
Most of Sister's problems are the fact that it's grotesquely undercosted.
I don't think it's undercosted. I think it's overruled. I think the index was undercosted, and that's why they were good, because they had so much garbage. With the jump packs being like 60 points, and Crusaders being 25 points, and all that nonsense. And then they buffed every single rule by like 1 or 2 sentences. Like they gave everything an extra rule, and then made the existing rules better, and then made the detachments better. And the points went up, but they didn't go up enough to reflect the rules. So I think they need to tune the rules back down again. I don't think they need more points hikes. I'm already paying 100 points for 5 jump pack infantry. I don't really want to be paying more than that.
It's the Eldar problem. They have 45 lines of rules per data sheet. And it's just like, why? Like, you're all right, hey, what does this unit do? And Preston will be like, well, it does the following 6 things. Are you prepared for the essay? And I'm like, what? No. What do you mean?
Oh, and also my army has assault as a whole.
I enjoyed Sisters when it was a bunch of stupid little guys that you could use Miracle Dice whenever you wanted to make them punch slightly above their weight or just be like randomly durable, and then people were just like had no idea how much they needed to commit to do stuff. Where they're like, oh, I don't need to use a defensive strat, and then the one multi-melta gets a killer, or something like that. Or they're like, I don't need to do an offensive buff, and then my T3 one-wound models live with a person left. But now it's like, you're using your Miracle Knights to pull off wombo combo alpha strikes, kill their Primarch from across the map with Castigators and Morven Vol. And I just really don't like that play pattern.
Yeah.
I think 40k is at its best when there's a back and forth and when there's strategic pain points where you're like, okay, I can see where the battle shifted because I didn't do this or I moved these unit here or whatever. But with Sisters, a lot of the games just feel like the pain points come from if their dice fail them when they're not using Miracle Dice. Or if they just make horrible decisions, which just generally doesn't happen the more you play the game.
Yeah, I mean, I just posted a snippet of the St. Catherine datasheet in chat just to comment that this is like a Soren Kierkegaard novel. Like, there's so much words on this, like, it's crazy. Most units get 1 rule. This one has a book.
A lot of the Sisters units are at the point where they have a datasheet rule, and they have a war gear rule, and then you can also put them in a transport or put them with a leader that gives them 2 more rules on top of that. You're like, oh, this unit doesn't actually shoot that hard, but wait, this transport gives them ignore cover, and this tank gives them +1 AP, and the Triumph gives them rerolls and use 2 miracle dice, and their leader gives them dev wounds and flip a die, and it's like, what are we doing here?
It's the definition of a faction that's a hat on a hat. It's just like, let's just keep stapling rules on everything.
Well, maybe we'll see next week some points changes and go from there to see what happens. There's lots of things that need to get hit army-wide across multiple armies, I think.
I think they're just going to do points changes for now, but I really hope we get another January type deal where they really shake up some of the army stuff, and they can take some time, because they'll have almost a year's worth of data at that point. They can take some time to really address some of the changes for Sisters.
You know what we aren't getting, though, is a new codex other than Blood Angels,
Yeah, that's a little disappointing.
which still hasn't come out yet. So we'll see how long that takes.
Do we even have a release date yet?
No, it wasn't up for pre-order today, so there's no time frame for when it's actually going to be orderable.
So at least 2 weeks. Yeah, oh man. I still want to see the Blood Angels points. I don't think it'll be that impactful. I think it's just a good codex. I don't think it's like a crazy busted codex or anything like that.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a pain point again, just like 2 to 3 months of nothing, you know? No codexes, no roadmap. Nothing other than Hank Guards coming out next year. Woo.
Yeah, I guess I just don't understand why they wouldn't come up with another codex around Christmas time. Because they're obviously not going to come out with a new mission pack because they just came out with Pariah Nexus. So, like, what are they spending their time on? Have they just been going nonstop and just need the time off? Like, it's...
They have to figure out what models to raise prices on for Christmas.
All of them, Michael. They're done already.
Well, Alex isn't wrong, but they usually do gear production towards the Battle Force boxes for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what Battle Force boxes we get and how much of a ripoff they may or may not be this year. Being very negative towards us, and I apologize to anybody, but it's grating after a certain amount of time.
Maybe they can make a new Chaos Spawn model too. It's been only 20 years. I mean,
But they'll put it in a Battle Force box you can only buy in this $200 box, and then won't come out for 6 months.
it'll be in the Thousand Suns box.
Yes, which will only have that as the new model.
The last Chaos faction that I'm going to build.
Let's transition. We've got a lot of complaining, and the meta's the meta. I'm curious to see if this coming week we'll get points. Very curious to see if that happens. I'm hoping it does, and we'll be some discussion next week if that does happen.
One last thing about Sisters, as much as we just ranted about it, I do feel as though the primary reason I lost my game against Preston as badly as I did was because I missed advance and charge four turns in a row. That really did not help because I had no threat range at all. But I also didn't get to see a lot of his units do what they're supposed to do because of, like, my guys were just standing behind walls like, oh, we'll get them next time, boys. And then next time never came.
And I proceeded to shoot you with castigators for 5 turns.
Yeah. That was fun.
You did get to see what the Demonofuge could do. That was kind of awesome.
Yeah, that thing was like stupid, man.
Who knew that this thing was like invulnerable? 2-up save.
All right, take 16 wounds from anger on sweep. All right, I took 2 damage.
It was 14 because you had to put 3 into a different battle sister.
Oh right, yeah. Because I'm like, I can't let this one single girl hold me down. Instead, I let these 2 elves hold me down. Great.
Good job, Angron.
He did what he was supposed to do. Whoever built that elf's force field system like needs a raise, I guess.
In general, 4-up invols can just go away for the most part, like straight up. Like unless you have plot armor, gullymen, any of the Primarchs, faction leaders, 4-up invol's fine. The fact that literally anyone else has a 4-up invol is just like, why? They don't have plot armor.
Yeah, what were you pointing out? Like the commissar for guard, just a random officer has a 5-up invuln.
A random commissar has a 5-up invol. Why? He's a human. He's a human with a refractor field. A refractor field will not stop Angron's axe. I'm just saying.
It's the coat.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I would be fine, like, certain HQs having 6-up invols because of refractor fields. Sure, that makes sense to me. But, like, 2 random elves that I have literally never heard of. 4-up invol?
It's not 2 elves, it's 1 elf and 1 battle sister.
Okay.
So I have to ask though, doesn't Makari give Gaz like a 2-up invul?
Gaz has so Makari has a lore reason. He is the luckiest git, and he cannot re-roll his invulnerable save. Once he fails, he dies horrifically. Perfectly fine, in my opinion. Because you can roll a 1 your first save, and then you just die.
Makari has a lore reason, just so you guys all caught that, right? There's
Yeah,
justification for
Yeah,
it.
it's okay. He can have it. We're not even talking about 4-ups. We're talking about 2-ups. 2-up invols are okay.
Take it away. I don't care. I don't care. Just make Gaz decent.
No, I will not.
Well, then there you go.
Well, that's the final word for that.
I'm okay with Makari having the 2-up invuln. I don't get why the Archon has it for Drakari. It just feels, again, like a random rule. Like, does the unnamed Archon, like the equivalent of a Space Marine captain, really need the 2-up invuln rule?
Well, first of all, how dare you? He's an elf.
I don't think anybody else has the 2-up invuln rule. Because Anwa's in Legends. I'm pretty sure it's just the Archon and Makari.
It is, at this point. It is only those 2 models.
I think Zoanthropes deserve their 3-up invuln back.
God.
That's what we need.
4-up is bad enough for Zoanthropes. Like, and you know what? I would even be okay with Zoanthropes having a 4-up. Their literal whole shtick is that they use the warp to defend themselves. They are such a massive influence and pull on the warp that they use it to defend themselves. That makes sense to me.
So 3-ups are back? That's what I'm hearing?
No. Like 50% of the time they can use the warp to defend against nonsense.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that Zoanthropes can have a 3-up invuln back too. I was like, stop, Will, no. Don't say that.
If you can massively manipulate reality, I'm cool with you having a 4-up invul. Because that means that you're a Primarch, or you're some kind of crazy Psyker.
Or you're a 30-point model. Wait, hold on.
Exactly. Like, it's just, no.
Well, you just said Zoanthropes could have it.
That's not, you can't just have one Zoanthrope!
What if you have 8 demons inside of you? Should you have a 4-up invuln then?
No.
Wrong.
Because those 8 demons don't care about defending themselves, they care about crumping.
Well, they gotta survive long enough to get there, obviously.
I'm giving him shit, but I do agree. I think invulns need to go down a lot across the game. I think it's a band-aid mechanic that they also have just spent so much time balancing around that they forget they don't actually have to.
Yeah.
I feel like the constant arms race between invulns and high AP is a detriment to the game. There is too much stuff that's just like casually like, here, AP2, AP3, so it means you have to have an invuln on a model if you want it to be helpful.
Which entirely defeats the purpose of the game itself, right?
I think it's less of an issue with the AP race. I think they've generally done a good job managing that. I think it's the fact that they still haven't gotten the toughness chart right. Because the high toughness models also need an invuln to be durable, because high toughness in today's day and age doesn't actually guarantee that you survive a lot.
Well, no, when everything has anti-infantry 2-up, or anti-monster vehicle 2-up or 4-up.
Or lethal hits re-rolling on 5s, or whatever.
Why even bother? Who cares about your toughness at that point?
Generally, I will say, I think the game is in a good place. I would be happy to play this over any other iteration of 10th or 9th edition, but if they are going to improve something, I would like to see them take another long look at the toughness and the invuln across the board. And if that means having to change how a wound roll is calculated, or like the hit wound save system, maybe they should look at that. I don't know if that's too big of a change for like an 11th edition thing, but something should be done about how they currently figure out how you damage stuff, because it's really easy to damage stuff.
Yeah, I also would much rather play this than the 9th edition where, oh, hey, you got a bead on this unit, therefore that unit's instantly dead. Like, at least things have some level of durability now, but yeah, toughness is largely irrelevant in the game for most things.
Hot take. What I think will fix the game is helping the Imperial Agents players out, all 14 of them, get them some better win rates.
Ooh, they're trying!
14 people are.
I gotta say, if you take Imperial Agents to a GT, like, you're either drunk or straight Chad mode. Possibly both. Like, that's crazy talk.
It is an army that I would love to play once on TTS. I would never put the time into getting the models for it, because that sounds terrible.
It is. They're all old.
Yeah, maybe if they got a range refresh on some of their stuff for sure, but like some of their models are very drippy, even though they are older models. I will say that.
It's not even like the model quality of that. It's just like you have to get like 100 infantry. You have to get so many duplicates. Like you need 30 subductors, 30 voids men at arms, and then you also like the meta. Nobody knows what's good for Imperial Agents, so you might get something and it ends up being bad, and now you end up having to buy like 5,000 points of Imperial Agents just to figure out an army that's good.
Back in my day, that's what we all had to do. No one knows what this game's about, so we just buy all the models.
You could. They were cheaper.
I remember back when a monolith used to be $60. That's how much I bought my 3 monoliths for. $60 a piece, baby. And I was upset when they went from 55 to 60. Now they're like, what, like 130 or something?
$194.
Have they always been that big?
The new wells are slightly bigger.
Yeah, the older one was a little bit smaller. Not much.
Almost $200. It's just making me irrationally angry. Let's talk about something else.
All right.
Let's talk about Warhammer Plus. So, I don't know who all uses it. I know I subscribe and have for a while. I do watch some of the shows. The Tithes is really good. I do watch some of the battle reports.
The Exodites, yes, those are good.
Some of the Masterclass stuff is interesting to watch every now and again. But is it worth it? I mean, for me, sure. I use the app. I like having the app and being able to have multiple armies in the app. And I get the yearly mini. So I'm paying, $60 a year for a mini, then plus access to all this stuff. Sure, it's worth it. Why not? But I don't know that everybody else subscribes. So, I mean, do y'all watch any of the shows? I know you do, Will.
I've watched some. I've watched the Exodite. I've watched the Ties. I have watched... So, like, I've tried watching a bunch of Hammer and Bolter, but, like, this is going to sound so bad. The animation is not that good. Like, I watch it and I'm like, ooh, I've seen better in random anime, and I don't like anime, right? So, like, Hammer and Bolter was already a struggle for me to kind of get into because it's a very anime style. But then I get in, and the animation isn't that good, and I'm like, ugh. So, I don't know. I feel bad for saying this, but, like, a lot of the animation just is simply not as good as what fan-made animations can do.
This art style specifically, you're looking at, what is this, Hammer and Bolter episode 1 for reference? This art style kind of reminds me of Castlevania on Netflix, but like if it was done in the 80s maybe?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a PowerPoint presentation. Bro, you can add more than 4 frames per second. You know that, right? That's a thing.
Yeah, it is pretty slow.
It is visually difficult to watch because there are so many frame losses per second. Like, there are literally 5 frames per second. And it looks bad. It looks really bad.
It's very static. Like the movement is very static, very stilted.
I think saying it looks bad is a little harsh. Okay, that looks bad. I don't know, man.
It looks bad. I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm like, I can't watch anymore. It is infuriating to watch.
It is a little reminiscent of like stop motion.
Exactly. I don't want to pay that much money to watch stop motion. And then you go to something like The Tithes, and it's like, ooh, this is hot. And the dialogue is a little cringy in like the first and second episode. The second episode especially, in my opinion, this is Will's hot take. The Custodes are always arrogant. I won't spoil too much, but like in episode 2, the Custodes are continuously arrogant, but like it's like cringy how arrogant they are. And in like the first episode, the 2 Marines talking, the dichotomy between legions, it's very interesting to kind of see that development, but the animation still isn't top notch. It's good, and I'm not bashing animators. I'm sure that this took way more talent and time than I'll ever have to do these episodes. But could it have been done better? Could you have had a little bit more subtlety? Sure. But again, subtlety, Warhammer strong point? No, probably not.
I mean, my opinion is, like me. So I'm paying for the app. I'm paying for the free model. I'm paying for that kind of thing. This is just bonus content, really, comparatively. So, I'm okay with it. It's not great. Will I watch it all? Probably not. But when I'm in the mood, I can come here and watch something.
I'm in the same boat. And the Exodite, by the way, so if you haven't watched the Exodite's great. That's a truly amazing little animation. It's one of probably my favorite, with the exception of the Tithes episode 3. So the Tithes episode 3, if you have not watched it, you will get physically angry. My face got physically flushed at the end of the episode. I was so mad because, for those who don't know this, I'm in the military, and I'm like, wow, that is the military to a T. And I was just mad. I was just really mad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little things on here.
There is. I'm not going to say the app is totally worth it for what they're asking, but at the same time, as a TO, I basically have to pay. I have to pay. So I do pay because I do massively have a passion for this game, and I think it is appropriate that I give a little bit, because GW gives me so much for free. They give me all the codes for free. They just sent me an army box for free. The least I can do is basically pay $100 a year because I bought the year-long subscription, and they send me a mini, so I'm paying $40 for some cool animations for a year. Okay. I'm okay with that.
Like, this animation looks great. This is the armoring of a Space Marine. This came out when Space Marine 2 was announced, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, they obviously put money into this animation, and it looks great. It looks really good, I think. You can tell when they put money in it, and you can tell when they just said, like, yeah, we'll give you $100 and a bag of Skittles to animate this. Like, pay your animators. They're doing a good job. Pay your writers. They're doing a good job. And you'll get stuff like this. They obviously have the capability. The first one we looked at, what was it? Hammer and Bolter. It seemed like they were going for a stylistic choice, but they probably cut a little bit of corners to make it, maybe to get it out sooner, perhaps. Maybe they just didn't have the money to pay people to animate a lot of frames, so it looks a little choppy. The backdrops are definitely matte rendered. They're definitely not animated along with the whole thing. So this looks pretty good. What is this?
Black Talon.
This is just the trailer, but yes. I'm not saying that the app isn't worth it. I'm just saying that, like, look at the Tithes. The Tithes, in my opinion, is my favorite little miniseries. And then go to YouTube, and then I want you to look in Astartes, and tell me which one is cooler.
The dude that made Astartes went to work for Warhammer, I'm pretty sure.
And we have heard nothing from him since he has gone to work for them.
He went to the actual Black Library. He's in a sarcophagus.
Yep.
So outside of the shows, though, what about the other things like Lore Masters, Masterclass, and the various bat reps that release? What's your opinion with that?
The Masterclass is nothing I can't get on YouTube, but for the most part better, because Masterclass uses exclusively GWs. No offense to GW and Citadel. Their paints are great. I use almost exclusively contrast because I'm a degenerate, but if I'm looking for truly top-tier paint jobs, I'm going to YouTube, and I'm going to be using 5 or 6 different brands. Masterclass does not do that. They use exclusively Citadel. And I get why they do it. I really do. But I've watched some of the tutorials, and I'm like, why would I use Ustabi Bone when I can use Tooth and Coat's Vampire Fang? Why would I do that? Because Vampire Fang covers better, is smoother, and is easier to apply. So Masterclass is one of those things. It's very niche. If you are a big Citadel fan and you like their paint pots, go for it.
Yeah, I think that, especially when it comes to effect paints and stuff like that, I think that looking outside the Citadel range is typically a better option. Like the new glow effects from the Army Painter are really good from what I've seen, what I've used, and I want to get some more colors because they seem to be just really big pimpin' in the painting scheme. Whereas I don't want to spend $8, $9 on a pot of effect paint from GW and then only have that one when I could spend $4 on one of the Army Painter ones for very similar quality, if not the same quality.
Exactly. I've not watched any of the Lore Masters. I can't comment on the Lore Masters. I'm sure that they're good because GW's lore is pretty consistently very good.
Yeah, I always hate this picture of Abaddon the Despoiler on the thumbnail for the Abaddon episode.
Yeah. I do like how they've kind of unofficially said that Malum, Cadeo, and Titus are canon. Those are like canon things now. I would love... So, and this is one thing I will say that GW could capitalize on harder. Release a Malum Cadeo Lieutenant model and put him with Blade Guard and give him full hit and wound rerolls if they made a successful charge.
You've heard it here officially. Will is endorsing more Space Marine lieutenants.
And also endorsing full hit and wound rerolls.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Will?
Yeah.
Stop it!
Imagine Malum Cadeo hits the board and you're like, oh no! Because he gives full hit wound rerolls because he's just this insane doom guy that I'm a big fan of like just insane rules if it makes sense lore-wise. Like Sly Marble should lead 10 catachans and give full hit and wound rerolls, and on 6s to wound you get +2 AP. Like, just hell yeah, brother, give it to me.
Stop giving things full hit and
Yeah, what are we doing here, Will? I thought
you know what I mean? I'm exaggerating.
You know what I mean. Not what I said.
I don't know what you mean. I'm gonna be real honest. I feel like you could say every single character in every army should do that because they can do cool things in lore.
No, like there are cool things in lore that would translate awesomely to the tabletop. That's all that I'm saying. Take Ulftak Blackhawk. Orc model that was released.
Full wound and hit rerolls and then +2 AP on 6s.
He does not have that. He has Deep Strike, which is cool because he can teleport because of his Shockstone Dragster engine, and he, in lore, teleported inside of a Titan's Void Shields, and then he went inside the Titan and he killed the Titan because he killed the whole crew. So he gets +1 to like hit and wound vehicles and Titanic models or something like that. That's awesome. That's so lore friendly and it adds so much flavor to the model, but they released him and he was Legends. Do those sort of cool pushes for these models and everyone would love it.
I don't understand how you're gonna Legends a model that hasn't got, like, right when it comes out. That doesn't really make sense, but...
Don't stop before I get angry. Just stop.
I just work here.
It's okay. They only legend whole armies. It's fine. So, Warhammer TV. In thoughts here. It's not bad. It's not great. They could do more stuff, but I mean, it's okay.
$100 a year isn't that much, right? Like, if you think you will enjoy it, you're gonna watch some battle reports. You can maybe find. I'm sure there's a couple more masterclasses for painting stuff that's not on YouTube. It's probably worth it, but I do think that they could spend a little bit more time, maybe up in the quality of some of those animations. Put a few less out and just make the ones you do put out better.
I agree with Mason. You don't have to pump out You know what? I kind of say that, but like they don't even put out that much. Like they don't. So put out better quality and a little bit more. It doesn't have to be that much, just a little bit. Because like between the Tithes episodes, it was like a month between every Tithe episode, and they were like 5 or 6 minutes long. They're not bad, but like a little bit more. And like the painting episodes, I know those don't take that long post-production. Really, they really don't.
And kiss the homies once or twice.
Oh, yes.
That's the best title, though.
I love that little idiot with his guts wig on. He's so stupid. With the vampire counts guy with the intestines all over his head is what we're talking about. I think that this guy is so stupid and doofy. He's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on here. So yeah, if you're knee deep in the Citadel system and all you want to do are Citadel paints, then the Masterclass stuff is really good for that. But there's a lot of paints out there. Some noticeably better, but still, I mean, there's a lot of different paints. You can still take a lot of those techniques. Just got to color match, and there's a lot of different ways you can color match stuff.
Yeah, like learning how to blend things in such a way, I think, is a useful skill to use. I think you will definitely improve your painting if you actually become a student of the craft and watch these videos.
And if you want to paint gross feet, there you go.
Now, is Duncan Rhodes probably a better painter than these guys? Yeah, but Duncan Rhodes is only one guy, whereas this is a bunch of guys doing this content. So,
and a lot of the people that used to do Citadel videos, Duncan Rhodes, Rogue Hobbies, Suggs, those two specifically have channels out there, plus Peachy. I mean, Peachy's got his stuff out there. So, I mean, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there that you can get just a lot of good information from a lot of people that used to just do Warhammer professionally. And, you know, if you want to freehand tattoos, hey, they got a masterclass for freehanding tattoos.
Yeah, I hating on the app, especially because, like, but I'm kind of biased because I'm a TO and I pretty consistently use the app. So to the average individual, I don't know about it. I don't think that they've made the value to dollar ratio. I don't think that they made it worth it.
You want to hand paint some freehand leopard print? You can do that.
That sounds like I would rather. I can't say any of the things I would rather. That sounds bad.
So, okay. Overall, we'll wrap this up here. I give Warhammer Plus, Warhammer TV, the whole thing, a B. You know, solid B, I think. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not Jerry Plus student. It's not a D- student either, but it's not bad. I mean, I watch it when they release a new bat rep out. I'll usually watch it because it's usually something new they're releasing. I kind of want to see how it plays, like the new Kill Team bat rep they put out, which is its own thing entirely. You know, it's not bad. Not great. I use it. I enjoy it. I pay for it. Whatever.
5.2 out of 10. They could easily bump that up way higher.
I don't think that low. I think that it's definitely something you're not going to tear your hair out and be like, why did I buy this? But I think that if you don't buy it, you're not going to be like, wow, I'm really missing out. I got to get it.
So final thoughts on anything we talked about tonight, guys? Anything you want to wrap up with other than we need a new Space Marine lieutenant, apparently?
You heard it here.
With full hidden wound rerolls.
Yes.
Dude, Malum Kadeo on the charge, full wound hit rerolls. I'm in. Give it to me, baby.
115 points.
I'm still in. Like, nothing of what you said is bad.
Okay, Will's going to start a Space Marine army. Got it.
Yep.
Dude, if they release Malum Kadeo for Ultramarines with those rules, I would unironically buy a Space Marine army.
Who are you?
He is not immune to propaganda.
I'm not immune to propaganda. Give me Captain Titus, too.
He's got a model.
Yeah, he has a model.
Okay, give me rules for Captain Titus.
No?
Well, okay, then I'm not in.
I have not seen the Titus model in person, so I can't speak to the quality of it. But he has a model.
I have it in a box upstairs. I got the Space Marine board game, so he's in there. So
Wait, they actually made a model for Captain Titus?
Yeah, they made a Space Marine board game. You'd know that.
Oh, I did not know that. A Lieutenant Titus.
yeah,
I'm gonna be real. It's not as good as I would hope, but it's not bad.
I mean, I don't know what else it would be. Like, that's what he looks like.
It should convey an aura of hidden wound rerolls, is what it should do.
It should.
No. It
Plus
should
AP on 6s.
It should convey an aura of, like, dispassion. So Lieutenant Titus has suffered through a couple hundred years of a Black Shield in the Death Watch. That man's dispassion and sadness and anger bleeds through in Space Marine 2 so hard. They did... So, I'm a shill Space Marine 2. Space Marine 2 is such a good game. Playing as Titus is just... Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it after I get paid.
so there's your Lieutenant Titus if you ever do want the model in the board game. Plus, you get a whole bunch of Termagants you will never use.
I'll add to the pile of Termagants that I will never use.
And 2 Ripper Swarms. Can't forget the Ripper Swarms. Sorry. So yeah, let's wrap up. Overall, I think we hopefully we'll get some points talk this week, if not for Age of Sigmar, hopefully 40k, hopefully both. It'd be nice. We'll see what they do with the first Age of Sigmar update that's coming out. Curious to see how hard they go with it or what sort of light touch they give. Are Night Hunt going to be the Eldari of the edition? You know, are they going to keep getting hit, still good, keep getting hit, still good sort of thing? Or what are they going to do? I don't know.
Yeah, they're so good that a light touch is not going to do it for them. They're going to need to get slapped real hard.
They need a backhand, a front hand, and another backhand, and then they'll probably be at about 53%.
Well, they're going to shrug half those hits because they have a 4-up.
Hey!
On that note, join the Discord. It's in the show notes. It's posted everywhere. Email us at openplaypodcast@gmail.com. I'll send you a link to the Discord if you email me. I don't care. I'll send you the link to our affiliate link for Warpfire Minis. So go to Warpfire Minis, use our affiliate link. You pay nothing extra, but we get a little money back so I can pay the editor and he can have some food. So, help us out there. Otherwise, everybody have a good week, a good month, good year, whatever the case may be. Y'all have a good time, and thanks for listening, folks. Everybody have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thanks for listening.
Later, everybody.